All right, welcome back. In our previous videos, we got some item collection going on, and we've got our inventory window working, and so forth. So that's looking really good. What I want to do in this video, or possibly a couple of videos, depending, got that set really fast again. I should remember to turn that down so I can move around here. What I want to do in this video is add a hotbar down here at the bottom. So right now when we go into play mode, we've just got our little icons here, and we have our inventory window, and that's good, but we really need a hotbar for immediate actions. All right, so let's see, what do we need to do to create that hotbar? Well, the first thing is we've got our inventory. That's great. That's our backpack. Let's create another inventory component. There's our inventory component, and let's call this the hotbar. Okay, so we've got a hotbar in there. With that selected, we've got some settings we can make on here, and we want, I think, 8 slots across our hotbar. So we'll be revisiting this code. There's some things that we need to do in the player's main event graph later, but we got to get some other things set up first. So I'm going to compile and save that, and that's set up to 8 components. All right. So the next thing we want to do is create a hotbar widget over here in our HUD stuff. So this will be our hotbar. We'll go user interface, blueprint widget, and we'll call it hotbar underscore WID. All right, we'll open that up. This one's very straightforward, very similar to what we did with the window, but a little bit simpler. We're going to get rid of this canvas first of all, and we're going to put a size box in, and we'll drop the size box in here right on that. And with that size box selected, we'll come up here and select width and height, and our little boxes are 100 by 100. So I'm going to make this 110. No, I'm going to make it 880 on the width and 110 on the height. And we'll go ahead and do our little thing over the screen and get our desired. Nope. What happened? What did I select? Desired. All right, there's our desired size. So on this size box, I think I want a border also. We're not going to put any name or text above this one. We know what it is. On this border, we are going to again make it a very dark color, but we're going to turn this way down. I think maybe about 0.2 or something, at least for now. And then inside this border, very simply, has this got any padding? Padding is set to 0. That's what I want. There's padding here on the content. I want that to 0. And then what I want is that that same grid panel in here. The difference here is we're just going to go into the grid panel column fill. We only want 1 row, so we're going to add 8 columns, 0 through 7. And that's good there. All right. Well, we don't need that. Let's stop that. All right. Let's save it. Go over here to our graph, and we're not going to need any of this stuff. Right, we don't need any of this stuff. Oh, darn it. What we're going to do is start by creating a custom event. Add a custom event. We're going to call this update. What this event is going to do is update our menu, very similar to the way we updated the main inventory window, but it's a little bit simpler. We don't have to worry about rows and columns. However, we're going to make this static. In fact, let's set that up right now because we're going to need that. I didn't think about that. Over here in our common HUD, where's our common? There's our common widget. All right, this is where we want our hotbar. So let's look up hotbar. Here's our hotbar widget. Let's drag it over here and we'll set it about here in the center. Now, centering it, anchors. Let's set the centering to down here. And then let's set, well, if we center it, yeah, that's probably a good way to do it. And then we can just center it like this. That'll keep it centered to the bottom down here with screen size changes. It'll be across here. And we want to make that a variable, which it is. Hotbar width, it is a variable. And is there anything else that we need? Eventually it's going to be focusable, so we want to make that focusable. Yeah, we'll do that in a different way. We don't need that to ever be focusable. We're gonna use numbers to access this. And later, when we do the drag and drop stuff, we will have a special widget that'll populate in place of this in our inventory grid. So when we bring up our inventory, one just like this will appear right over it, and you'll be able to drag and drop onto it. We'll do that in another video series, probably possibly next week. We'll see. So we've got that in place. It is called the hotbar widget. Okay, so in our hotbar widget we need an update. So there's a couple of things that we need to do first. So we need first of all, back in our designer, this grid here needs to be a variable, and we will call it inventory grid. That's fine. Compile and save that. All right, go back to our graph. So we need to get that inventory grid out. And what we need to call on this is clear children. Just in case anything's there before we update it, we want to clear the children out. Then we need to get the player pawn. There it is, get player pawn. And of course, as usual, we need to cast this to our player character base. Okay. And from this, we need to get that hotbar. Get hotbar. There it is. Okay, so we're getting the hotbar out of that, and we want to create a variable. So what I'm just going to do is promote to variable, and we'll set that. So immediately we've got the hotbar variable set up here, and we'll name this hotbar inventory. So that's the actual inventory component of that hotbar. All right, let's pull this in here, get it out, get things out of the way as best we can, make it a little bit more compact. All right, so now we've got our inventory. Now what do we need to do? Well, we need a for loop. We've done this before, and here's our straight up normal for loop. And coming out of the inventory here, we need to do a get. No. Let me see. Oh yeah. So let's move this down a little bit here. So we've got our inventory. We can just grab it like this. I guess we could use the one coming out of here. Get inventory is what we want. That gives us that inventory array. So then we want to do a get, and we can get a reference to that. All right. Here's our for loop. Also from our inventory, we need to get the number of slots, do a -1. Let's move that down. And this goes into last index. So now it'll go to from 0 to -1, just like before. And the index that we want on this get is the index coming out of this for loop. Good. Let me take a look here. Why are we doing this? So now what we need to do is create that inventory slot widget. Create widget, and the type here is inventory slot. We've done this before. It's pretty straightforward. And what we're going to do is put that item in there, and we're going to put it at this index so that it knows its own slot index. This is the item. We need the inventory, which is this inventory here. And we've got the class. Everything's filled in. Now we need to add the child to this inventory grid. So we'll get that inventory grid, and we'll go add child to grid. Pull this across, and we don't have to do those calculations that we did before. We'll put this into the content here, and we don't have to worry about the row. What we want is the this index here. And actually, now I remember why I did that. Promote that to a variable. Hook this up, and change this name to index, and grab it over here, and it's going to go into the column. We're just setting the column, and it should only be 8. And it should always be 8. So that's what's going to happen when we call this update on this widget. So that's not going to happen right away. All right. Inventory mode is fine. All right. So we need to go back to our common widget. And let's make sure that's saved into here. We have, let's see, that's the get nourishment, the health. This is the event graph. Make sure I'm in the right place here. We don't need any of these events. We're going to create another custom event here. Add a custom event. We're going to call this update hotbar. All right. Now this is important because this has access, more direct access to what we're doing, and it's all about Lifecycle. We're doing it in here because this common widget is created prior to our hotbar being created. So this will come alive. So what we want to do now is get our player pawn. Get player pawn. We want to cast that. Again, cast to player character base. Hook this into here. Now we want to get the hotbar. Get hotbar, and get this hotbar widget, and we're going to take the hotbar widget and set inventory. Set the hotbar inventory here, like this, this, and here. That's the hotbar inventory. This is our widget hotbar. And then what we're going to do is on this widget hotbar over here, we're going to call update. Okay, so far so good. Compile and save that. And one last thing here in player character base, we're going to do two things. We're going to create, let me find my notes again. I have to go by my notes to make sure I don't make any mistakes here. All right. So we're going to find a decent location for this. Here. This will be a good spot. Let's zoom in here. And we're going to create a custom event again. Add a custom event. We're going to call it update hotbar. All right, it's in a different blueprint, so it's okay on the name. Let's move it over here a little bit. Update hotbar. We got to get the player controller. And from the player controller, we need to get the HUD. And we need to take that HUD and cast it to let me take a look here. Cast it to main HUD. There it is. So now we've got our main HUD. From here, we need to get our common HUD. And from our common HUD, we need to get our hotbar widget. And on our hotbar widget, we need to call update. All right. We are almost done with all this. I'm going to mark this off. I'm going to hit, I'm going to comment it. And I'm going to call this the update hotbar. This just makes this easier to call from down here. Now, right now, when we pick things up, we're putting them in our inventory component because that's the only inventory we had at the time. I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to grab the hotbar component and put it on this target and do one last thing. When I come off here, I'm going to call update hotbar. Now, if I did everything correctly, this should work. I'm going to save everything, and then we'll hit play, and it did not. Oh, I forgot one step, and I know exactly what it is. All right, so we're going to set up a begin play event up here. We'll call it begin play. Begin play. Event begin play. Let's move in. And for now, the only thing we're going to do is call update hotbar. But later on, we might do other stuff. So I'll probably put a sequence in here or something. But I'm just going to comment this and call it my begin play. So we'll create a comment for this, and we'll just call it begin play operations. These are things that we need to do on begin play. So that'll call the initial update when we begin play. So if we save that, save all, make sure we save before we play, hit this, there's our hotbar. And if we now go over here and pick stuff up, it appears on our hotbar. And if we pick up a whole bunch of stuff, this could be a while. And try to pick up stuff very rapidly here until we get should move over to the next slot. Now in upcoming videos we will make this drag and drop thing so that we can move things around and split down stacks and so forth. 59, 60, 61, 2, 3. There's our stack of 64, and it goes to the next slot, just like the other inventory. So now our inventory up here, of course, is empty, and this has stuff in it. We will eventually set up a whole drag and drop thing where we can move stuff back and forth, split down stacks, and do other things. But so we're coming along. There's our hotbar, and intercommunicating between these things will be just really a matter of moving it from one inventory component to the other inventory component, and it should all appear. And we can do that via drag and drop and hotkeys. Another thing that we can do with this is I might get rid of that background on that. I don't think that looks very good, or maybe it could use some additional padding. We'll see. But those little gray borders that we have around this now, we'll be able to have that be when you press a number, you'll go into, it'll highlight one of those, the one that's active, and that'll be the one that you can actually use or do something with. So anyway, there is our whole hotbar setup done and completed in this video, and perfect. We're on our way to making more and better stuff. So thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you liked it, hit that like button. If you really liked it, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to get notifications when I upload more videos, hit that notify button. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.